And you have.
Yeah.
I mean, you've overcome so many obstacles as far as, actually working the energy. I just,
Thank you.
it's amazing to watch and really neat. So, and I am being told to turn my sound up. So we'll see if we can get that taken care of. But probably because my mic is not directly in my face tonight. So I may have a little bit of an issue going there, but I am comfortable. And just let me know if that's better or if I need to make some adjustments. I don't mind a bit.
No, you sound nice and loud and clear to me anyway.
Right. Well, she said it's the accent. So I guess we both have one, right?
Probably.
Quite different from each other, but they're both there.
Hmm.
So, well, now I'm sidetracked, but I just think that the whole way that you have gone about doing these things, how did you develop the idea for this rope? I mean, I
Ooh,
understand the copper and the conductivity and all of that, but it's quite out of the box.
yeah. Originally, it started with a kind of a conversation with a mediumship friend of mine who I have not seen for a long time now, who we used to work with on events. And we used to work for this company, much like our good friend Chad.
Mm-hmm.
And and I used to kind of host the evening, and then this lady called Jill Mayer, who's an amazing
Yes.
medium from New Zealand. I don't know if you've heard of Jill Mayer before, but she is good. And I had this idea, and I spoke to her about it, and I spoke to her about the conduction rope, and I can't remember what Jill's input was with the conduction rope, but based on the design, Jill did have a little bit of influence to it. For the first, it's like anything do you know when you're working with physical mediumship, really, it's like anything. Things take a long time.
Yes.
And I tried to work with it for about 2 years before it started to work the way I wanted to. And once it started to work for me, then there was no going back. And a lot of people enjoy it and want to see it, really. So it's that type of thing now. And like I say, 9 times out of 10 it works. So it's really good.
Well, it just was such a novel decision to go that way, because I would love to see that in action. I just think that's, and I mean, there's videos, and for those who have not seen any of the work that John has done, find him on YouTube. When I first had the opportunity to interview you, John, I was Googling everything that I came across with you, and it was link after link after link. It was just fascinating to me, all of the coverage that you have had and the level of attention that people give to what you do where you live. That does not necessarily happen that way here.
Right. Okay.
So it's really neat.
Thank you.
And we are just a minute from our first break, but I always tell you that I'm just amazed and fascinated, and what you do is this, that, and the other. But it's genuine, because just since we first spoke, you have evolved in your relationship with the Anguished Men painting. Not the painting itself so much as the individual who is attached to that. You have evolved that relationship from, maybe, rocking and dancing his easel to actually working to communicate with him so that he can communicate with you as well. And I know that we're going to be discussing some of that. We will have a lot of fun with that. But right now, we are going to take our first 3-minute break, and we will be right back. I hope you enjoyed this.
You are listening to WPHM Digital Broadcasting. The best in paranormal talk radio.
And here we are back from that first break. And thank you everyone for joining us tonight because, you know, John is someone that I have really enjoyed learning about over time. And it's one of those things that you just find it difficult to believe that society where John is from in Manchester in England is so very open to these things. And one of our people who listens had made a comment that, you know, there's probably so much going on over there from the ancient history that y'all enjoy that perhaps that there's more activity so people personally experience that and they're more open to it. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, I probably think so. I mean, the paranormal community within the UK is quite a busy one now. It's yeah. I mean, the thing about the United Kingdom is there's so many amazing locations, isn't there? The history goes way back, doesn't it?
Yes.
And but in saying that, I mean, you've got some amazing locations in the USA as well, haven't you? Really?
Absolutely,
but,
fun stuff.
Yeah, but I think the to be fair, I think the interest of the paranormal community, why people got interested in the paranormal in the first place in the UK, it's always been around. You know, you've always had your paranormal investigators, but it's your TV programs that bring it on, isn't it? It's TV programs that get people interested in the subject.
Certainly here, that seems to have been what kick-started everything.
Yeah, it is, isn't it, really? And And it's people's personal experiences as well, isn't it? I mean, it's like when I was 13-year-old, I've told you this story before, and I saw a young boy next to my bed, and he was about the same age as me, but he had old workhouse clothes on, and you know, a workhouse was in England. If you're not familiar with the name of the workhouse, it was basically going back to way back to the 1700s, really, where the poor were put in workhouses. It was kind of like a forced labour, if you like. It was kind of a crime to be poor in those days, in the 1700s and 1800s, and they put people in the workhouse, and they got fed for doing menial tasks like oakum picking and things like that. And I think I remember a good friend of mine who we used to work with quite some time ago now. He created a database of the reasons why haunted locations are haunted.
Interesting.
And he put it down to three things, really. One of them is trauma. You know, when, somebody leaves the earth, you know, someone passes on to the spirit world, but they've left it in a traumatic way. So that's why they come back and haunt the location.
Right.
Another one was anniversary dates. Battlefields is one, isn't it? How many battlefields do you know?
I was just on one. I was in Gettysburg 2 weekends ago. It was astounding.
Yeah, was it really, yeah?
Unexpected.
Yeah. I can imagine. And can you imagine the amount of trauma on a battlefield as well?
And I felt most of it. It was
really?
just it was unexpected because I didn't know where I was as I was driving into town because it was my first time. And the energy level was just hideous. And I was having a very difficult time. And now, I am very rarely subdued. You've talked to me when I was running on 2 hours sleep before, and yeah. I'm very rarely subdued at all. Mm-hmm. And I just could not bring my energy up because I was being overwhelmed. I just went and did an auto tour because I figured if I was going to be experiencing this, I will just immerse myself, right? Yeah. But it was something that the farther I got away from it on my way to the airport, the lighter I got. It was very, very surprising to me.
So you know when, say, for instance, if you go to a place like that, for me, what makes me tune into spirit first of all is my tummy. I can feel like a tingling sensation in my tummy, and that's where it starts for me. That's when I know that I'm in the right place, and then it builds from there. Are you the same?
Mine is my tummy, and it's also my chest. I found that when I was there, when I was first driving in, there was a field to my left, and I glanced over. There were structures there, obviously period structures. They were beautiful. But when I double took to that area because it felt like there were people. And, of course, there were no physical people there, but it was like pulling from my chest. And I was like, nope, that's mine. I'm so sorry. You can't have that. And it was really a very unusual experience. I've been to many haunted locations, as anyone who does what I do has. But that was beyond just a haunting. That was battles still going on and people needing energy in order to survive. And that's what I felt like was happening, was that they needed that energy to be able to continue. And that's why I said no. I don't mind on occasion sharing, but that was not wanting to share. That was seeking a lot of strength from me, and I just was like, no, I'm so sorry. You're going to have to leave me alone because I just got here.